Hello from down under. Here we are. Australia. There we go. Right, we're going to tell a little story tonight. Theo Hayez. Right, that's the man there. Right. Now, oh God, I'm going to sneeze. I don't know why. Anyway, bear with me. Sorry about the glare. Right, Byron Bay is where he disappeared from. And come all the way out here from Belgium. So he was up in Brisbane and he caught a bus down to the Gold Coast. I think this is a bit shiny, this. We'll try it this way. And he come down to Surfers Paradise, Coolangatta. Surfers Paradise, he then got a bus down to Byron Bay. That's where he disappeared. Now, two interesting things. Make a note. There's Byron Bay. There's Coffs Harbour. That's about 232 kilometres from Byron Bay to Coffs Harbour. Approximately 220 kilometres. Woman said she seen him on the side of the road. Another guy hitchhiking. But that's another story. Now, let's have a look at our story. Following the digital ghost trail, missing backpacker, Belgian, Theo Hayez. 60 Minutes program, published 7th of September. Now, I didn't know this was out there. It just got brought to my attention. Now I'm going to show you something. And what was brought to my attention is this part here in the story, which I made a YouTube about and I deleted it because this bit of information was not yet available. And it's about 30 minutes
and there's evidence he's not alone. His final Google Maps search had earlier directed him to climb a very steep slope to get back to his hostel.
Now, let's just hold it there for a second. Steep and unstable cliffs. Do not climb ahead. How many times have you been in the car and your Google map on your phone has given you the wrong directions? It just sees a line on a map. It doesn't have reality, right? Now, from what I picked up from this news story and why I can comment about this compared to other people in the YouTube world, we've got Americans making comments about it. We've got English making comments about it. I got a YouTube there with a bloody robot talking. Somebody can't even use their own bloody voice. And there's American bloke who does Bigfoot. He's done a story on it, but he's very distinct. I hear no my voice. He's never been out there. Now I've stood there in that car park. Now let's just show you the car park. Actually, we'll do it another way. Ah, whoop, there it is. Let's have a look at that. This is what I want you to see.
Disappearing.
Right there. Right. Now what people, okay, you say, hang on, what's all this wiggly lines? All right. This here, about here, is the car park. And he's walked out, he's come up here, and this is the head of the Byron Bay, right? That white line down here. So see, that's the coastline. See, there's the coastline, right? It goes right around the edge, right? Right. So he's come down to the point, and he stood here. He's had a conversation, and he sat there and he watched his YouTube. He watched his favourite Belgium comedy. He watched the beginning of it. Right? Now, hang on. Where does all this come from? Well, this whole video will explain it. Then he goes up here and then realises he can't walk up here to the lighthouse to get on the road to walk out this way, back onto this road over here. This is a steep mountain terrain, right? Google sent him up the wrong path. Then he's come down here, and then he stopped. Then 12 hours later, with his Google tracker off, his phone's recorded going around this headland until the battery went flat at 1 p.m. the following day. Now, all suspicions are somebody else was carrying the phone around this part of the headland. Can you get what I'm trying to say? Something happened to him here. Now, was he thrown in the water there? And there are white sharks, right? White pointer sharks, right? And then someone's concealed their identity. This is the possible theory. It's only a theory. They're going this way then with the phone, and because the Telstra tower is here, it can't pick it up here because this is a rock face. It goes down like that. And this guy's walking around the edge, or person is walking around the edge about here. And the tower's over here. So it can't pick it up because it's down beside the rock. So let's just show you the rock. I'll pull it up on the other phone. Right, there's the car park I went to. I walked out on the beach there. Now, my regulars on my channel know that I used to live in a bus. And I've driven my bus up there to the top of Byron Bay Lighthouse. Right, Cape Byron. And as you can see, oh, gotta wish this. Byron Bay Lighthouse car park, right? So what? Right, all right, let's have a look at it. There it is there. I've driven my bus around there. God, all these other bloody things have got to come in, right? There it goes. Right, so this is what Cape Byron looks like. See how steep it is? That's why the antenna could not pick him up, pick up the phone. The phone was going around the edge of the cliff, like a mountain goat. That actual cliff, right there. His phone come around there. Now let's just pan it around. And you can see right. Let's get out of that for a second. Zoom that down a bit. Now let's have a look. This is the guy with a Google walking camera, I think. I think this is the one where he walks up to, oh no, this is Ben's images, whoever Ben was. Oh, God. Hang on, come back to you. I'll get out of that. Right, now this is where he went. This is what they're showing right here. See that there? Right. That's this. Where's my finger? He's walked up here. He's got there to that corner there. And he's walked up just here. You walk up that crack there. He's walked up here. See, there's like a little tiny trail. Have a look. So he's left to the crack in the mountain. On very Pacific, right? Very, very Pacific. Not Pacific Ocean, but just being very, very Pacific. So there's the trail there. You can see it. All right? And that's called Cozy Corner. And then somehow, and then he's got down to here, right about there, on the sand. So that's yellow sand. And they said he's very accurate. It was down to about 2 metres. The last thing he stood was there. And then his phone went around this mountain range below the lighthouse. Trying to get the phone to adjust so you can see it. You can Google it yourself. And there's a walking track. Right? People walk around there. Right? The locals and the homeless people. Not these blue walking tracks. They walk on the rock face. They walk around here. The locals, the real nutcases, the homeless people. They're sick and tired of seeing the backpackers and the tourists. They walk around there. Now, there was a guy I know of, and when I was up there inquiring about all this, he used to live in here. So there's the car park. That's where I made my video. Tallow Beach car park with my crippled legs, and I only walked down to there. Now, when I was healthier, 20 years ago, I walk right up there to that headland. So I know exactly how steep that is. Now, a lot of these YouTubers around the world come in and they do a story on it. They don't even know what they're talking about. They've never been there. They've got no idea what the terrain there is like. Now, this is where he come walking through. He didn't come in by the road. He come in off the park. Now, what he was doing, he was walking up here to the left side of this park. And then he's turned around on that street and come back down, halfway down. Then he's cut across the park and across this street. And then he's come across down through this trail. There's the trail there. There's the car park. And it's a trail that in that story people talk about. They wouldn't use it in the dark. Right? It's a sort of trail you wouldn't want to walk on. Right? That there is the ranger station. See? Office. Look at that. How did I know that? Because I've been there. Right, National Parks Office. So he's actually gone across the back of the Royal National Park Ranger's office. See, now look, there's a puddle of water there. Didn't know that, did you? That's right. He's come down here. And what they used to do, there used to be a guy who used to live in there, and the rangers used to leave him alone. He was an old bloke. And he said they always come down there, backpackers come down there, and they come up here and they have their secret fires because they're not supposed to have a fire. And they do it up in there in the valley, in that rock face, so the rangers don't see them. So it's a sheer cliff. Now, the other mystery part was his personal effects were found in a town called Nimbin. Now, I'm going to show you on the map where that is. Makes it easier. I got a broken back. Sorry about that. See, look, a lot of YouTubers will go out there, set up all the computers, and they pull out all the maps, and they're halfway around the world. They don't know what they're talking about. I can get away with just a small phone because I lived there. I lived there in a bus. Right? I've actually lived there in a bus. Right. I was living on the highways, and I used to travel around there all the time for 17 years, for 3 months of the year. And I was a cab driver there, and I drove the taxis around there. Who better than a bloke who drove a cab around Byron Bay would know Byron Bay? Do you know every single street in Byron Bay? I do. I drove a cab there. Right. Now, what he did, I hope that shed some light on the thing. So he's come across from there. He's come across out of here through the park. And down here is where the monkey is. Down here, down towards Woolworths. I'm trying to look at this camera and I'm trying to look at that phone. Where have I gone to? I've gone somewhere. Right, there's the old railway station. There's the men's club. There's Woolworths, right? So there's Woolworths Shopping Centre. Yes, even Olivia Newton-John's been there, right? Okay. Stupid camera. Zoom in. Right. Right. Well, the monkey is just along there, right? Now, what happened was he's gone over there and he's disappeared from way over there. Now, this is the breaking news bit. A couple of months ago, going off tip-offs, they went out to a town called Nimbin. Sorry, gone too far. Where are we going? Bangalore, Mayakam, Clunes, Eltham. Oh, there we go. Over here. Sorry. Now I can sort of see what I'm doing. Right. There's Lismore. Lismore railway line goes down to Ballina. See, there's Byron Bay. Now I've got the phone set up. And then from Lismore, you go up to the Shannon. Now look how far away it is. Nimbin. Now, out in the mountain country, I do it slowly so your brain can adjust to the. Now look at the countryside. Marijuana capital, they call it. They believe in the hemp industry. Look, see, hemp. They believe in the marijuana, right? It's all marijuana sort of ecology out there. A lot of the local kids don't even touch it. But the main street, it's where they've got the shops and they like to sell the hemp. Now, there's only one house in the whole of Nimbin that has been dumped and is in rack and ruin, and it's a squatter's house. Now, this is the interesting part. They only went out there a couple of months ago. He disappeared in May 2019. And in this squatter's house in the township of Nimbin, as you can see, it's not a very big town. It's a very small town with one police station, just there somewhere. I think off memory the police station should be about here somewhere. I've got a cousin lives there. Hello, cousin. Hope you're watching this. Anyway, and the police station should be right about here somewhere, I think. And this, it should be on this side of the road over here. Anyway, there's one abandoned house out there in Nimbin. So I think you can see just by me showing you that. So there's Blue Knob Road goes out of town, right, which is the road that goes up there to Murwillumbah. If you follow that road there, you'll see that it'll go all the way down and then it'll go out there to the road that goes to Murwillumbah, right, which is, see, right up there. It goes right up that way to Murwillumbah. It's up there somewhere. I can't see what I'm looking at. Doon, that's Queensland. Gone too far. Think. Where are we going? Lost myself. Oh, yes, Dominoid, what are you doing? You lost yourself. Trying to do a YouTube and you got lost. Oh my God, that's no good. Anyway, you can go and get on your big computer there yourself. You can go and look it up. Right, there's Nimbin. You come out of Nimbin, you go north, And oh yeah, you haven't gone far enough. There you go. UKI was actually UK1. That's where they got the timber to build all the railway lines up there through the New England railways, because I'm the guy who does the disused railway lines throughout the state of New South Wales, and that's where all the timber come from. All the big railway bridges. And I did the disused railway line casino to Byron Bay to Murwillumbah, and then we go up here to Murwillumbah, which is now the end where the railway line used to finish, right in there on the banks of the Tweed River. Right, so that's Moreland way up there, right? So there's Bray Park. Where's the railway line? Well, not that really matters. Yeah, there's the railway line there. Comes in there next to the Tweed River. There's McDonald's. Oh, it's just here, I think. I think that'll be about here. Yeah, there it is there. That's Byron Bay train station, right there, right? Sorry, Moreland Bay railway station. Just look at that. Aren't I good for a blind old bloke, 61 years of age, no glasses on, looking through a phone camera, looking at another mobile phone on another map, right? Yeah, that's 935 kilometres exactly from Central Number 1 train station to right just there near that big tree. That's 935 kilometres back to Central in Sydney, right? So there you go. You want to know my knowledge? There you go. So, how did his clothing end up at Nimbin? Let's have a look at the story.
It somehow moves overland, around the cliffs. There's no evidence that his phone went overland.
There's the lighthouse.
There's evidence that his phone was moved. Now, if his phone was moved, he's not the one that moved it. This is not conclusive evidence, but there is certainly.
That's Ken Gamble. I know him. He's on my phone. He's on my list of contacts.
That phone moved after 1 a.m.
Yes, so where did it move after?
Well, according to the evidence, moved further away from Tallow Beach, Cozy Corner, towards the lighthouse.
Around the rock base.
What's unexplainable is that it didn't connect to the lighthouse tower, meaning that it would have had to almost go around the headland. So
going around there.
Very strong and compelling evidence that he didn't go in the water.
Although the tracking data from the mobile towers is
that's where his phone come around too. There's a lighthouse.
It is able to show that the
so there's the lighthouse.
Theo's phone appears
up
to
here.
move over the steep and rocky terrain, ending up.
How did his phone get through here?
The lighthouse, where it remains on until after 1.
A local person would walk that, not a tourist. A tourist wouldn't dare.
Being able to follow his digital trail, Theo's phone has never been found. Coming up
was a tip-off, an anonymous tip-off.
Now here it is.
A strange and sudden breakthrough.
Theo's belongings had been dumped in an abandoned house in Nimbin.
While looking for Theo,
this is a physical avenue of inquiry which appears to have been missed.
Our investigators uncover an eerily similar case.
I would hope that we will get some answers.
That's next on Under Investigation.
This is where the woman's ID shows up, who was found 6 months after Theo disappeared. Her body was found in a tent on the beach. And his stuff was found there as well. The two people's property are in the one house in Nimbin. How does that happen? Let's watch.
The hands of one or more people in the early hours of June 1st, 2019.
Right, let's skip that bit.
Theo's belongings had been taken from Tallow Beach and dumped in an abandoned house in Nimbin.
Ken Gamble reported the information to police, which led them to that abandoned house in Nimbin, 70 kilometres from Byron Bay.
So we then went to Nimbin, we tracked down an abandoned house. There was only one in town. When we got into that house, we were astounded to find 3 suitcases full of belongings scattered all over the lounge room.
Incredibly, those personal effects belonged not to Theo, but to a missing woman called Thea Lind.
Thea.
A 32-year-old who disappeared from Byron Bay 6 months after Theo, and whose remains were found by police in July last year. Our investigators believe The cases are linked.
It's more than just a coincidence. There's too much, evidence pointing towards there being a lot of similarities in this, and you can never have enough avenues of inquiry. We've been talking about the digital avenues of inquiry, which have been missed by law enforcement. This is a physical avenue of inquiry which appears to have been missed, and one that should have been grabbed with both hands.
He's a former federal policeman, cyber crime bloke.
Quite recent information, but
Now, so the point is I'm trying to make, because they just go on there and they just talk about Theo and they go on. Now, if you want to get out and see the story, it is heartbreaking. It is very mysterious.
calling from any.
That's it there if you want to go look it up, right? It's under the 60 Minutes heading, following the digital trail. Now, the point I'm trying to make is, as a person that's been to this area around Byron Bay, where am I? Whoop, I logged myself out of Australia. Look at that, I got lost. It's interesting to see how two people from Byron Bay end up in a house from here over here in a town called Nimbin. So how did their stuff get 70 kilometres away? Interesting, isn't it? Which means their stuff would have went down this road all the way down out here to Lismore, and then from Lismore up there into Nimbin. Someone picked up their property and either took their bodies out there, shot him up with drugs, or they killed him over there on the beach. But the woman, as I said, was found. But she was taken 6 months after he disappeared. His belongings and her belongings were both found in the same abandoned house in Nimbin. And there is only one abandoned house in Nimbin, because as you can tell by the size of Nimbin, it is not very big at all. And my deepest sympathy obviously goes out there to the family. I think it'd be one of the worst nightmares you could ever live through, knowing that your son is never going to come home. And this is Nimbin again. So you tell me, how did his stuff end up all the way out here at Nimbin? It's sleepy, looks like a lovely little town. But I'll tell you now, from my experiences, that park right there in the middle of town is where all the heroin and the cocaine gets passed. That's right, heroin and cocaine. I love to know where the abandoned house is, and right across here is where the marijuana houses are with the marijuana museums, all the hemp stuff. That's the stuff you see when you do Google Earth, such as, where is it? Trying to see it. I don't want to badmouth any good businesses, but I mean, they might be a good business selling their hemp products. Nimbin Emporium, there we go, that's one for example. Let's have a look at that. Let's just see what that looks like. See, it's a lovely sort of shop. The main street is a lovely town. It's a lovely clean town. It's very presentable. It's like every other town there is. But it's old, so it's got the old timber beams. Right? So, but it's very clean. Don't let this reflect on the people of Nimbin. It's just what happens to be one abandoned house in Nimbin. And that's where his stuff was found. So don't say the people of Nimbin done it. It's somebody has done it that went to Nimbin for the purpose of drugs. And I would say, I would take a guess from my experience as a 61-year-old living in a motorhome, travelling between Melbourne to Cairns and mainly Sydney to Byron, and working New South Wales in a cab in the off-season out in the country towns, driving a cab, and Sydney during the city busy times during summer. And then I go out in the country and I give all these country cabbies their holidays in Byron Bay and drive the wheelchair cab in Byron Bay, because I also drive a wheelchair cab because I've shown a picture there. I'll just show you just so I can prove it. There you go, cab licence. See, I retired in 2002. That's me when I look pretty. And on the back, I don't want to show you too many details. Right, oh, there it is. Right. Says the word country, metropolitan and country. You see that? Right, no, and you can't use my ABN number either because it's out of date. Right, so I've proven it. I've driven a cab out in the country in Byron Bay. So you ask your local cab driver how much knowledge does he know about the local town and who's who. A cab driver's like the local policeman. But the difference is, with the cab driver, the people get in, they talk in front of the cab driver as if they're not there, and the cab driver hears everything that goes on. Whereas when the local policeman shows up, everybody shuts up. But how many times I've been driving a cab in that 17 years, people got in, oh, you know, Johnny Mac, well, yeah, he got done for break and enter at what's his name place because somebody opened their big mouth and dobbed him in because they were sitting there and they didn't realise that the cab driver was an off-duty policeman. I had a famous incident there once. I've had Whoopi Goldberg got in my cab, and I had a Nelson Mandela and the New South Wales former Governor General Sir Roden Cutler. So there's three names there I can just drop on you. Whoopi Goldberg, everybody knows Whoopi Goldberg from America, Poison in Excess, and a few other TV stars. But anyway, that's beside the point. Let's keep on the story. So I feel sorry for this poor godfather down in Melbourne and the family. Anyway, you can call Crime Stoppers in Australia, New South Wales Crime Stoppers, if you know anything. I can't remember the phone number, or else you can look up Ken Gamble, Gamble, Ken Gamble. He's a private investigator. He's also doing it. And I talked to him. As I said, I know a lot of people. As I said before on my channel, I had that bloke who tried to scam me on the channel, and I said, mate, you don't know who you're dealing with. I said, I know people you wouldn't believe that I know. Don't try and DM me. It's on my live chat. Go down and have a look at it. I said, mate, you don't know who I know. Well, now this has just proven it. So anyway, hopefully they find something out. So question A, how did Theo's stuff get over to Nimbin? B, what happened to his phone? C, why was a woman's stuff there, her mail, in that abandoned house in Nimbin when a body was found obviously over there in the beach in the tent, and she disappeared from Byron Bay, just up the road from where he disappeared? Leave me a comment. What do you think it was? Do you think there's a serial killer running around up there? A man and a woman, or two men, or one man? What do you think? I'd like to know. Or if you do know something of fact, you can email me in private, mrhominoid@gmail.com. mrhominoid@gmail.com. If you know anything at all that solves the mystery of Theo Hayez, I'd love to hear about it. And I will personally pass it on to the right authorities. All right? And I will not publish it on YouTube. Okay? We want to get this mystery solved. It's like the bastard Ivan Milat, all the backpackers he killed. Us Australians, we've had a gutful of this. We've had a gutful of it. We like our backpackers coming over here and we like our tourism. We don't need this sort of crap. We want these mongrels caught. You would too, if it was your son or your daughter, like the girl that died. At least they found her body, but they haven't found Theo's yet. So we don't know. Is he buried in the sand dunes south of Byron Bay? Is he buried north of Byron Bay, between there and wherever? Is he thrown out in the bush somewhere between Lismore and Nimbin? Is he buried on a dairy farm somewhere? Is he thrown down a well? You don't know. I just hope that somebody can lead to answers and find him, and to give the family peace of mind before they pass on. What a horrible life for that godfather sitting there in Melbourne. He's in Melbourne. He's all the way from Belgium. How do you think he feels? He's living with a nightmare in a country that he come out to live happily in a country, and now he's got this godson of his has disappeared in Byron Bay, in the country that he thinks is the greatest thing out. Poor bastard, poor bloke. Anyway, from Mr. Hominoid, thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe. If you know anything, let me know. I'll pass it on.